Welcome back to B-Side Banter. This is episode 29. I'm here with Matt. You probably know him on Instagram and TikTok as Fuego Stein. Got that right this time. He's also got a YouTube. I've kind of known and picked up on your stuff through your new music discovery. You do a ton of content that's like, hey, if you like so-and-so, you'll probably like this, this, and this, which, I super appreciate because putting me on to new artists and you're doing a great job kind of representing the smaller artists, which is really cool. But I'm going to kick it to you. Maybe give us just a little bit of rundown what you do about your channels, some of
Yeah.
that cool stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on. And yeah, I mean, I kind of started, geez, this is going on to year, I don't know, 3.5, I think at this point.
Wow.
So I had followed a bunch of people on TikTok who were doing like hip hop curation, two people in particular, Axel Tanner and a guy that goes by the name of Creator K, who doesn't even do his show anymore. It was called Show and Tell, and he would do all sorts of hip hop stuff. And
Nice.
for a while, it was like, oh man, I don't really see anybody doing the kind of music that I search for, that I enjoy, probably the most. And one day, kind of out of literally the stairwell of the house I was living in at the time, I started doing, videos, song suggestions, and just kind of took off rather quickly. Honestly, it was, I had a couple dedicated series of stuff, and then yeah, it's kind of it's morphed from, I was doing it part time while working a full time job into like mostly a full time gig at this point, and
It's amazing.
super grateful, super blessed to have this kind of opportunity to put, like you said, people onto artists that maybe you haven't heard of otherwise, right? It's the small artists of the world. It's we're not talking about like all the viral stuff per se. It's all indie artists. I've had a lot of luck or success in that space, in kind of putting people onto artists that they've never heard of, and in reference to maybe a song that you do know. And for me, like, I'm not super technically musically inclined, right? Like, for me, it's always been a kind of about how things sound and how I can relate them back to things that I already know.
Yeah.
And I find a lot of people kind of feel the same way, right? If you're you're working a full-time job, you don't have that time or space to be technically into the music. You have to
Yeah.
really kind of relate it back to things so
Yeah.
that's where I've kind of built a really big following and a really big community of people just kind of find their next favorite artist.
Yeah, absolutely. And like that's a lot of work. Like are you just listening to music constantly? Like how do you find these new artists? Because it's one thing to find a new artist and then like follow them for a long time, but then to be like always on this hunt for new artists, new people, and then kind of like taking that and being like, oh, they sound like so and so, and like always
Yeah,
having to have that mental note. Like,
it's so it's for me, it's a lot of deep diving, like artist radios. Like Spotify's not always the best in that sense, but I found once you get to like the really really small artists, like you're gonna get suggested more really really small artists.
yeah,
And that's really the way I do it. It's a lot of listening to music, and it's a lot of like these niche playlists that I've kind of built out over time. It's like I have like, geez, probably 6 or 7 at least, where it's like indie rock adjacent playlists, where anything that I feel like fits in that category, it goes in there. Kind of like a nice little Rolodex
yeah,
for me, so to speak, that I could kind of go back on and pull from when I want to do like one of those videos where it's like, you like this song, here's 5 more type deal.
mm,
So a lot of that, and at this point I have and maybe you go through this too, I'm not entirely sure, like a bunch of people submitting their music to me. So it's a
yeah,
lot of that type of stuff, and it's just,
yeah.
yeah, it's really just listening to a ton of music.
Yeah, yeah, that would be crazy. I don't get a lot of like submissions. I get those like press releases, like, hey, so and so is releasing a
Yep.
new, but I don't get a lot of like song submissions every once in a while. But yeah, that would be so much work because I'm sure you don't just like take every single submission. Like you really want to make sure that you like it and that you can, put that into a category, you know,
Yeah,
it sounds like this
100%.
song or it sounds like whatever. And
Yep.
like, so, and I'm sure you have some that are just like on the back burner. You're like, I've got two right now that sound like so and so song, but I need three more to
Yeah,
make a video or
and
something.
sometimes it's like you I have a couple that sound like it, and I'm like, oh, like I really want to do a video, so I'll like hyper fixate for an entire day trying to go
Mhm.
through and find more like that just to try to
Yeah.
get the video through.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of both. It's like
Yeah.
that Rolodex, and it's like, oh, like I really like this song, and I think it'll be a good video. Like I'm gonna like
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
focus on it.
Yeah.
Sometimes to my own peril, but that's just how it
Yeah.
goes, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Oh, man, and then you kinda, like, build on that by having, and I forget the name of, like, what you call it on YouTube, but you have your interviews that you
Yeah,
do, and it's not like you're trying to like, I'm sure you would love to have, like, a huge, you know, guest on it, but, like, you're really trying to do the same thing, put people on to smaller artists, indie artists, with this kind of interview series that you do. So you're like kind of supplementing what
yeah,
you're already doing with.
it's definitely a labor of love in that sense. Like, it's something. Yeah, you're right. Like, I think the biggest artist I've had on at this point is, in terms of monthly listeners, is Simmel.
Mm,
So yeah, it's a bunch of smaller artists, and like again, it's serving a really underserved spot in music. Like,
mm,
indie artists struggle immensely more than you probably realize to make a
yeah.
living and to be heard and to to have their stories kind of told, and
Mhm,
it's not it's just kind of letting them tell their story and talking about music with them, and where they kind of found their inspiration.
mhm,
It's nothing groundbreaking by any stretch of the imagination, but it's something where, again, I feel like it's serving again a spot that is for a long time was very underserved. And like when I got into it, I think I was like me and maybe one other person, another Matt by occasion, were
mhm,
doing like this kind of space of music. I mean, nowadays it's a lot more saturated, but um, the amount of people who like do the same thing I do, who have told me that they started because of me, is like it's cool and weird at the same time. I'm
mhm.
just so
Yeah.
yeah, we're out here trying to help artists grow a little bit at the very
Mhm.
least.
Yeah. Give them a voice,
Yeah,
whatever that looks like. Yeah,
yeah, 100%.
that's really cool. And yeah, it's like I'd watch some of these interviews sometimes in full on YouTube, sometimes like the clips on that you've got through social media,
Yeah,
and just a lot of fun to see some of these artists that, yeah, like you said, they're in the thick of it, they're in the grind, and it's cool to see some of those perspectives and to see some of those people that are you know really working hard get a platform,
yeah.
and I think that's super generous of you, also like fits into everything that you do for sure, but yeah, I think that's a really cool thing that you're kind of supplementing your videos with.
Yeah, I mean, for people, obviously those videos aren't for everybody, right? If it's
Mhm,
even if it's like an artist you really are into, some people just want the music and that's it, and that's fine. But yeah, just the ability for that person to tell their story,
mhm,
kind of like me, like in a way, like I'm a nobody from nowhere doing this, which is it's crazy. So it's kind of where it sits, and we're um, yeah, just grateful to have the spot for sure.
mhm. What are some things that you've kind of like maybe learned or gotten an appreciation for talking to all these small artists over time? Like, because I'm sure you've gotten a lot of interesting insights into the music industry, into the grind of what it takes to be an artist and what these indie artists go through.
Yeah, it's the biggest one I think for me was not like as like I don't want to say a casual listener, but just as a listener, you understand what it means for somebody to tour, and then you understand what it
Mhm,
means for somebody to, have a really long tour, but I don't think you quite understand the ins and outs of it until like you've talked to somebody um who's toured, over half the year in and
Mm,
out of venues each day, pack in, pack out,
yeah.
sound check. These people are also working their own merch booth at times. Like it's
Mm,
an insane grind for these artists. And a lot of times it's like they're barely breaking even at the end of
mm,
the day. And for me, that was like the biggest eye opener, was just like the amount of work they're putting in, literally for the love of the music, to maybe, cover their costs and then a little bit at most.
mm,
Um, and then you find out, that, they're really making the most of their money from merch, and vinyls and things like that. Like everything else is really just kind of covering cost.
mm,
Um, just that part of it for me was really eye opening because, I'm a person who will travel for like a week and then I'm like, man, that was brutal. Like I'm happy to be
mhm.
home and like just
Yeah,
relax for a little bit. And then these
yeah.
people, like I talked to, like Oliver Hazard, this little like indie folk group out of Ohio that tours. They spent the past 5 or 6 years touring literally like 200 days out of the year. Like it's insane.
Mm,
It's so
mhm.
much work.
Yeah.
Um, and literally just for the love of it. So that for me was the biggest eye opener. And the more I talk through it with people, it's very consistent across that type of artist space. Is like just this
Mm,
huge tour grind that they put in.
mm. Would you have any like insight into like what are some of the biggest barriers for these indie artists to kind of break?
I mean, I think at this point it's like saturation in terms of music, right? Like
Mm,
it's and music discovery, right? Like in terms of TikTok or social media, it's become such a big part of how artists need to get their music out, and some of them just aren't like into it. Some of them don't want to do it. Some of them, it's like a necessary evil for a lot of them, and that's a huge barrier. And then you're fighting with what 10, 20,000 songs released every day.
yeah, it's
um,
crazy.
it's trying to find that group of people, that community that really cares about your music, and hopefully it's enough. And a lot of times too for these guys, it's like if they can get on tour opening for somebody bigger or at a festival
Mm,
spot where they're like right before somebody bigger, that kind of puts them in a place to get
yeah.
a little more success. But yeah, in a world where it's like so much music comes out every single day, it almost, you have to have something go really viral, it feels like, and then you
Mm,
struggle with that pressure of maintaining it, or you have to like long build these fans over years.
yeah.
um
Yeah.
it's just hard.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like and especially if you're like as an indie band or artist, you typically a lot of the time you don't have this label backing or this money that it really takes to pump into marketing.
Right.
And sometimes unfortunately we found out even into, pumping up your streaming numbers to make it look like you're bigger than you are. Um, but like, yeah, it's kind of like this catch-22 where it's like you need the money to get the label's attention, but you need the label to some degree, not always, but you need kind of the label for the money for the backing. So it's
Yeah,
like,
it
where do
really
you
is
go?
a weird dichotomy, isn't it? Like, uh and especially with these artists, like I feel bad sometimes for these artists that go viral on TikTok, where it's like they get this attention from labels and then they get signed by a label, and then all of a sudden it's like people show up to their shows just for that song,
Mm,
and it's a rough go of it.
yeah, yeah.
But there are artists who do it really well on social media. Like there's like a handful of artists that I follow that I feel like do it really, really well, and it's
Mm,
part of it's like really funny, some of it's really authentic, and
yeah.
it's worked for them, and they sell out shows because of it. So
Mm,
it's
mhm,
depends on how you do it, I guess.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, what are some things like that? Or I guess maybe let's go into. I'm curious. What are some of your like personal music preferences? Like, if you talked about hip hop a little bit at the beginning, but
Yep.
like, what are some genres? What are some people that you really like to follow? Obviously, you're really in the indie space, so
Uh,
you can give smaller artists, bigger artists, whatever.
yeah. So in prep to this, I so my if I had to pick genres where people would know me from at this point, it's is folk, and everything that entails is this like Americana country scene, not
Mm,
mainstream country, but more that stripped back version of it,
yeah.
and definitely like indie rock. Those are like the three genres people would know me from.
Mm,
Outside of that, yeah, like I enjoy hip hop thoroughly.
mm,
I was once big into like the electronic music scene.
mm,
Genuinely one of those people who would can pretty much listen to everything. Maybe outside of like I've never gotten really into metal. But
yeah.
outside of that, like I could get down with literally almost anything.
Mm,
Um, in terms of artists, we're gonna go around the horn here a little bit. Um, Artists that I've been into for a while slash this year, Flip Turn, this
mm,
indie rock band out of Jacksonville. Just crazy energy, really good music, really good like um, I don't want to call it shoegaze. It's a lot. It's heavier than that, but yeah, I would recommend listening to their album Shadow Glow.
mm,
Um, just really good stuff. Uh, Another artist, indie rock space, Blonde Shell.
mm,
Um, Very like 90s rock, early
yeah.
2000s rock is probably the best way to describe it. She's like I was like this year especially I've really listened to a lot of her stuff.
Mm,
um and then we'll go into like the hip hop space a little bit. An artist who I will always put down for is a guy named Mick Jenkins.
yeah. Love
uh,
Nick. Yeah.
yeah, his flow is crazy, his lines are so good. I enjoy everything he puts out. And then a newer artist who I saw this year and kind of really enjoy, and they remind me of the Beastie Boys a little bit.
Mm,
Artists Joey Valance and Bray,
yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
like super Beastie Boys vibes. The energy
Yeah.
at their show is crazy.
Mm,
Um, and then kind of taking it back a little bit, an instrumental group, Hermanos Gutierrez,
mm,
uh, Western movie soundtrack vibes all year round. That
mm.
perfect for like working or if you're trying to feel like the main character somewhere.
Yeah. Nice. Love that. Love that. What did you think of the new Valence like record that just came out?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Probably they're taking more chances on what they're doing, and I enjoy
Mm,
that. Um, Maybe too many, but
mm,
it's still good. I think I liked their previous album more, but
okay.
um, still a really good one. If you're into that kind of space, like you'll enjoy it. It's just fun. It
Mhm.
makes you want to move a little bit. I don't want to call it in the same vein of like Don't Tap the Glass, Tyler, but got that little bit of that energy for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it kinda does, yeah. Well, and especially, like you said, they have that, like, Beastie Boys sound,
Mm,
so it's like that's kind of like Don't Tap the Glass was kinda paying it
yeah,
homage to kind of some of that time, like, those sounds in that time.
yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I did notice that, like, there was a little bit of mixed review or, like, some people loved it, thought it's, album of the year. Other people
Hmm.
were like, "Yeah, it's kind of okay."
Yeah,
So I was intrigued.
yeah. I mean, you're gonna have that no matter what. I feel like,
Yeah.
but definitely a group that I mean, at least they, from what I've seen of their stuff, like they travel so well in Europe.
Mm.
Like they like sell out shows in Europe. The crowd I saw them at here in the States, probably not the energy they wanted from it, but it was still a good show.
Yeah, yeah, totally. A couple artists that are like maybe more in like the indie sphere. I don't actually know a whole lot about
Hmm.
that if they're like, you know, truly indie or not, but um that I've talked about a couple times on the show, so people might get annoyed. But Samia is one that I like have been
Mm,
following a lot, and
yeah,
she just like blew up even more with her like with that song Pool.
yeah.
Her Tiny Desk concert, like just going super viral, which is
That's all it
crazy.
takes. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's all
She's
and just so funny that it went viral when it did, and then, yeah, she put out, yeah, kind of a version of that, which
mhm.
I didn't know. It makes sense, but I didn't know that, like, Tiny Desk technically owns that. Like, when people perform
Yeah,
their songs there, that they technically own those
yeah. It's almost like
those
those like Triple J versions of like covers and stuff. Yeah, like they
Mm,
own all of
yeah,
that.
yeah. I thought that was so interesting, and it makes sense. Like that would be um, part of the business side of the Tiny Desk, right?
Right.
They want
100%.
to make some money
Yeah. I mean, it's like
off
when
of
they put
this.
out the Mac NPR vinyl, right? Like
Yeah,
that's exactly, I mean,
yeah.
crazy money off that.
Yeah, but really cool that that went viral for her, and then, she recorded a stripped down version and did really well.
Mhm.
And then, Viagra Boys is, like, another, artist that I've just been really
Really
enjoying, and
into.
there's yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't listened to a ton of Viagra Boys, and maybe I should. I've like heard a ton of people talking, and I'm just like, it's always like on the back burner to get to, and I just never do.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so maybe I gotta listen to them after this.
There's kind of, like, their new record, there's a lot of similarities to the new Joey record. Like, obviously, it's different genres, but,
Right.
like, there's a lot of, like, kind of similar things. They're both, like, really strange, love having kind of odd, strange lyrics.
Mm.
Yeah, but it's like I was like, "Oh, these are kinda similar," so I really like the Viagra Boys record, so, and then I enjoyed the new Joey one as well.
Yeah.
But those are 2 artists that are kind of in that indie sphere. I really liked Blonde Shell as well. I
Mhm.
appreciated what she dropped this year. Um, yeah, just really cool stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like the indie some of those, like, higher tiered indie artists are really doing, like, a lot of really great work.
Agreed.
Then,
Yep.
like, I've been following, I guess, too, a lot of the, like, that Asheville crew, like Indigo D'Souza and
Mm.
MJ Lenderman, like, a lot of
Yeah.
those people that are kinda coming out of Asheville. There's a lot of really cool things, like Wednesday is another one as
Wednesday's
well.
so good. Yeah.
Yeah, just like and they're all, like, coming out of one producer, one, like it's just such a cool, like, kinda story going
Yeah.
on there, like, they're all coming out of this one, um, yeah, like, recording studio and all through, this guy named Alex Farrar, so it's just really cool to see that,
Mhm.
see, like, a lot of recognition getting, over there.
I mean, if you're like the Wednesday stuff, it's it's like country rock at times, and it's like she's like
Mm,
all over the place, and I love it. It's
yeah,
I've only I got it probably like a month or two ago. I first like listened through some of their stuff. I'm just like, where have I been? Like,
mm,
um,
yeah,
but yeah, MJ Lenderland's so good.
mhm,
Indigo D'Souza, geez, that song. Oh God, what song is it? I gotta look it up. Like, it was literally um, what is it called? Oh no, Boys, the Boys song from like years
mm,
ago. I like,
yeah, yeah,
geez, that couldn't stop listening to that song when I first found it.
yeah.
Um, so really, that kind of space is like where I thrive at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, there's just so much cool stuff
Mm.
kind of happening. Um and that's like the ebb and flow of music throughout like a calendar year. Like cuz last year there were just so many big artists that dropped.
Right.
And this year there's not as much of that. So there's way more attention getting put on smaller, kind of more indie artists, and that's really cool. I like when that ebb and flow happens, and I like being in the season of like we're kind of forced into listening to these smaller artists,
Yeah.
which we shouldn't be. In an ideal world, we should be representing some of these smaller artists as
Yeah.
well. But it's really cool when it just happens naturally and organically.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. It's like, yeah, like it was almost like that thing. Like there was no, quote unquote song of the summer. It gave everybody a chance to kind of,
Mm,
throw their name in the ring here, so to speak, for it, and
yeah, yeah,
allowed so many different artists in that smaller space releasing albums, and um, yeah, they definitely didn't get overruled by like pop summer, which was nice.
mm,
Uh, but it's for me, it was like my album of the summer was like the Joe album.
mm, yeah,
Like for me, that was like that'll probably be like one of my top albums of the year. I don't know,
mm,
this like indie rock, indie dad rock type stuff,
Yeah.
like where he just
Yeah.
odes back to everything.
Yeah.
Um, and just his whole like vibe is so funny to me.
Mm.
So
Hmm.
um, yeah, it is an interesting space where it ebbs and flows. It's kind of it should be that way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and like the bigger artists, like they're so concerned about Grammy placement and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like they
Yeah,
get so concerned with their releases. Like an example of that is Taylor, like kind of being outside of the 2025 Grammy calendar year. So she's releasing in October. So now she's going to be in the 2026. And that happened. Kendrick Lamar did that last year.
yeah,
Like there, um, so they're so concerned about all these things. They're concerned about, who else is dropping on the same weekend and like,
right,
oh, so and so's dropping, so I can't, like, Morgan Wallen is dropping, so everybody needs to not drop, like, because we want, to have good numbers and we
right,
don't want to have to compete with another big album. But it's just like it's such a rat race there. Whereas the indie space, it's like they just drop, they're just like, hey, I have this project that I love that I poured my heart into.
yeah.
I just want it out there. Like, I'm
Yep.
sure there's a little bit of strategy involved, but it's not anywhere near this like
Yeah,
big.
it's like the like for whether you enjoy him or dislike him, it's like the Zach Bryan approach to music. Like you have a song, you put it out, you release
Yeah,
it, and you
yeah,
keep going. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
like the indie artist stage to relevance is like continually being there.
yeah, yeah,
Because
totally.
the drop off happens so fast. Like you take like a year
Hmm.
off as an indie artist, like
Yeah,
people move on so
yeah,
quickly. Um,
absolutely.
so he's
Yeah.
kind of set that blueprint up a little bit to where
Hmm.
music as much as you can get out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would agree. He has set that precedent, and it's the same thing on social media. Like if you're not, I don't know, putting out stuff, putting out content, you're just gonna get forgotten. And like a somebody that I don't think they would be considered indie. I don't know. I'm sure they're in like the big artist category now, but Somber, like,
Mm.
just like kills it with socials. Like obviously he has how I'm sure he's got half a dozen other paid accounts that are fan accounts, but
Right.
they're
Yeah.
like pumping out this content. But like that's the thing. Like he just posts these videos where he's on the street, like on a phone, and like, and the caption is like, I caught Somber on the street in New York and he was mad at me, like, or like I don't know if you saw the one where he's like had a stain on his pants and the guy's like, he's got one of his guys like doing a tied to go on his pants and he's like
No.
acting mad at the person that's like
Yeah.
taking a video. I'm like, this is crazy. But
I
like
don't think
that's
I've
what
seen that one.
people
That's
eat
funny.
up. They eat
Yeah.
that stuff up. They're like, oh, like this fake drama that's
Yeah.
happening.
Gotta
I don't
have
know.
it.
It's kind of like the 1975 like bit that they do in their concerts where like, oh no, Matty Healy's gonna say something offensive. Let's start the song.
Right.
Like everybody's like, half the people are like, whoa, is this serious? And the other half are like, you guys are idiots. Like this is just a bit they do for
Yeah.
attention, and it's
The
like
bits matter. Like I
they
think
do.
about like there's an indie rock artist that I follow. They go by Dexter and the Moon Rocks,
Mm.
and they had a bit, and like this is like another like example of how social media helped them. Like they've sold out shows because for a long time they make what they would describe as like cowboy emo rock. Um,
Interesting.
okay, and for
Nice.
a while they had a bit where it was like they had the hot or the wall of hot goth girls who would like these girls would use their songs and syncs on TikTok, and they would literally
Mhm.
just print screenshots and put them on the wall behind them. They've
That's
sold out shows. Like they've have like a million
that's
monthly listeners because of
that's
their
crazy.
ability to have like funny TikToks and like bits,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
probably one of the funniest accounts to follow, genuinely.
Yeah. There's like I don't even remember the name, but for a while they were just on my feed constantly. This kind of like rock band, and like the lead singer like didn't fully look like Jack Black, but like he always did Jack Black things. Like, do you
Yeah,
know what I'm talking
I
about?
don't think
He-
so. No.
Oh, they're hilarious, and I'm gonna butcher this just because I don't remember the name, and so nobody's, unless you know what I'm talking about, nobody's gonna know. But it's like it was just so funny because like they would do a bunch of like Tenacious D covers, or they
Uh-huh.
would like do funny things, and like Jack Black actually like gave them a shout out once, and like so like that was their bit, was like these things. And it was like, I was like, this is genius. Like sometimes people come up with these great kind of marketing things, and like,
Mhm.
yeah, they're following, like I wouldn't be surprised if they're close to 1 million on TikTok at this point. They were in like the 700,000s or something
Yeah.
the last time I saw them. So it was like, yeah, this is crazy. Like people love that stuff.
Yep.
That's an amazing way if you can organically grow an account because of good content, funny content. Like, and I think that's the hard part, is like, how do you find that? Because like the days of just like posting a song in your car, or like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
all of that typical stuff that people do, like it, I don't know, TikTok has become, and Instagram has become just as saturated as like Spotify, in the sense
Mhm.
that doing the typical isn't really going to set you apart. You
100%.
got to build off of something around your personality, and you have to post a ton, like, and just
Yeah,
be
I mean,
riding that all the time.
literally, yeah, for a while it was like you almost viewed it as like a lottery ticket, right? Like you were posting a bunch of videos in hopes that one
Yeah.
sat,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
like um yeah, like the days, even for like people in MySpace, like the days of just posting a song, those days are like gone for the most part, because there's so many accounts that do that same type of stuff.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
it has to be a song that is either really, really good, or you have to frame it in a way that people will actually like sit and take a second to listen to it.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a it's a goofy space nowadays for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh man, yeah, but it's cool to see, the hustle and the grind. I think it's tough. Like I can definitely feel artists like just not knowing what to do, trying to
Mhm.
figure out like what is our personality going to be? What are we going to do? What's our lottery ticket thing
Right.
going
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
be?
And then
And
God
it's
forbid
really
it
hard.
feels forced, right?
Yeah.
If the people start feeling like it's forced, then it's
Yeah.
almost worse than not having a bit in the first place.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
tough.
I know. It's really tough. Yeah. Yeah, it is. And there's like, I don't know, it's, yeah, like fake beefs, like there's all kinds of stuff that people do, right?
Mhm.
And it's just like sometimes it's hilarious, and like you said, sometimes you're like, oh, this seems forced, and like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. I don't know how much like you're in this space at all. You might not be, because it's like kind of niche, but do you know who Force Frank is?
No,
He's like a big like Christian pop guy. You should like check out some of like the beef that's going on right now.
I
But
don't
like
know.
there's this thing. He is so ridiculous. Like it's, to me, it's like, so it gives me the ick so bad. But like he broke his back, which is really sad.
Yeah.
And then he like wrote a song. Um, and of course it's a Christian song, but he's like in his bed, like singing. Like that's like the video they post. So
Yeah.
it's like such a cringy thing. But this like a bunch of artists started like kind of making fun of him for
Right.
that. So they were like posting like, oh, like I got a splinter, and they're like in the bed like making a song about
Right.
how they got a splinter,
Yeah.
and God has like healed them or whatever. But there's like a serious beef going on between like him and another artist. And it's kind of like, it's sad but hilarious at the same time. And like you kind of feel for this Forest guy, but at the same time you're like, man, I don't know. You signed up for
You
this. This
kind
is
of opened
social
the door
media.
for this. Yeah.
This is social media, man. Like,
You will get ripped apart. Yeah.
yeah.
I remember two things out of this. I remember when I early on in this, I posted a video about a Tiny Desk concert by a guy named Hobo Johnson,
Mhm.
and like this was pretty early on, and like I got ripped like as
Really?
hard as I've ever been ripped in a video. Like it was like to the point where like I almost like stopped doing it because I'm just like, this is crazy.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
and so yeah, like when you do this, like you open yourself up to it. Like it's
Yeah.
like a much thicker skin nowadays. And then the whole beef thing. Have you? I'm assuming so. Being in Nashville, are you attuned to the Gavin Adcock Charlie Crockett beef that is happening?
No, I haven't.
No. Oh my
I'm not like
goodness.
in the country space a lot, like, but I have not seen anything about
Are
this.
you familiar with both artists?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So there was Charlie Crockett put out this giant like Instagram post essentially like calling out a lot of the country music scene for being like bro country, and for a lot of
Sure.
the country music scene for uh like trying to step on Beyonce and her country album to like, push themselves up. And Gavin
Mhm.
Adcock did this at a concert where he like trashed that she won country album of the year. um
Yeah,
so
okay.
now there's this giant beef between Charlie Crockett and Gavin Adcock, where Gavin called him like a cosplay cowboy. It's like this whole
Whoa.
back and forth. Gavin's going after everybody because it's the easiest way to prop yourself up, I guess. But
Yeah, yeah.
just a giant beef back and forth between these two in
Yeah.
completely different country spaces.
Yeah,
Um, but just hilarious nonetheless.
man. Yeah. I love some of these beefs. They're so good. Some of them you're like, is this really like legit or is this just like a PR
Right.
like stunt? But
Yeah.
like, yeah. Yeah, man. It's so I don't know. We love the tea as people. Like it is like you said, unfortunately, it is one of those things where if you come after a lot of people and people bite, like you are gonna get
Oh yeah.
a lot of people like, oh, like who is this guy? And
Yeah.
like any publicity is good publicity, and
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
like,
if you like genuinely, if you're listening to this and you wanted to grow any kind of social media account, just have the hottest takes ever, and
mm,
people will rip you apart and follow you to rip you
yeah,
apart more. Like you can
exactly.
make as many hot takes as you want, and then
Yeah,
slowly turn it back around, and all of a sudden you've got a page. It's crazy.
yeah, it is crazy. Yeah. The only thing about that is like you have to then artificially just come up with hot takes, right? Like,
I
because
mean,
nobody really has enough hot takes to like to fund an account like that. But like,
no,
yeah, you kind of do. You have to just be roasting constantly, and yeah, people will like they love it. Where
yeah,
they see smoke, they're gonna come and they're gonna watch, and they'll even follow you, even if
yeah,
they hate every single opinion you've ever had.
yeah,
It's
hundred
crazy.
percent.
It's so crazy. Oh man. I do want to get at a couple of these kind of list things.
Yeah, let's do it.
Which so we've been doing this with a lot of guests, and it's just a lot of fun to see kind of what are some of these albums and artists that you like. So I'm gonna ask you the first one. But what are 5 must listen albums to you?
All right, so again, we're gonna like I try to cover a little bit of genre space here.
Mm,
Uh, The first one is technically considered an EP, but depending on who you ask, it's an album. Is one called Urban Flora by Alina Baraz and Galimatias. It is in that electronic space, electronic R&B. It's ethereal. It is. Um, it's a beautiful album. Like the sounds flow seamlessly together. They
mhm,
are her voice over the top of like these just um again like ethereal electronic sounds,
mhm.
so good. um the next one I would do, this one like throws back to my childhood. Hybrid Theory by Linkin Park.
Nice. Yeah.
I went through, I think as every 90s kid did, I went through an entire Linkin Park phase.
Hmm.
um
Yep.
so Hybrid Theory for me will always be an album I can go back to and put on at loud as humanly possible and
Hmm.
feel good again,
Yeah. Yes.
or feel angsty, however you want to put it.
Yeah.
So that's one for me for sure.
Mhm.
uh there's a album called Costello Music by a group called the Fratellis. And this album came out, oh goodness, I think like 2007, 2008. You would probably know a couple of the songs from they had a song called Flathead in one of the Apple Music commercials, like the
Mhm.
old like where the person was completely like blacked out and the colors were in the background. So they had a song
Mhm.
called Flathead that was in there. And then for the longest time, the Chicago Blackhawks used one of their songs for the goal scoring sound. It's a
Oh,
song
really? That's
called
cool.
Chelsea Dagger.
Mhm.
Those two songs you would recognize, and the entire album is just fun. It is They're a group out of the UK.
Mhm.
It's like upbeat indie rock of like the early mid to late 2000s. That's like it's just fun. I don't know how else to put it. It's really really fun. It's an album that again I can go back to and listen to. I bought this album when it was on iTunes, so like
Mhm.
that should tell you that's how
Yeah.
long far back this goes.
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
I'll do another one. Yeah, this is like good driving music. It's a song. It's an album called "Little Neon Limelight" by a band called Houndmouth. Again, kind of this like indie folk rock space. Literally perfect road trip music. They had a song off of that album do really well on TikTok called Sedona. Everybody was using it for like their travel videos and things of that nature for a long time.
Yeah.
Um, that album is Houndmouth for me was like a band that was in my top 5 artists for like 3 or 4 years in a row. So
Nice.
a group that I always go back to. And the last one, probably one we all know at this point, maybe not all of us, but if you follow me long enough, you probably do. And it's Stick Season, uh, an album that really like broke out the indie folk space and really,
Yeah.
I feel like, put it into a space that it wasn't in prior.
Mm.
Kind of bringing back those days of like, when the Lumineers and Mumford and Sons were like
Yeah.
really huge.
Yeah.
It's not Stomp and Holler directly, but it's like adjacent,
Yeah.
depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
And I think just what he kind of does with his songwriting and the
Mhm.
stories he tells are kind of what make the album. So
Yeah.
those are the
That's
5 I think I would pick today. They would
yeah.
probably change
Yeah.
tomorrow, but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
5 today.
No, that's amazing. Let's talk a little bit more about Stick Season because I do think like there's a lot of love and hate for Noah Khan specifically,
Yeah.
but also that album. Um, because like I don't know, like every indie genre, every like kind of underground, like there's always gatekeepers
Mhm.
that just don't want things to go mainstream.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, Stick Season, like you said, blew folk to the mainstream again. Um, and we hadn't seen that for probably 10 years, I would
Yeah.
say. I don't like it had been a while since, like you said, the glory days of Mumford and Sons, Avid Brothers, Lumineers, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera. Um, yeah, like what do you think like went into why that just like totally went
I
viral?
d- so I think for a lot of it was like this obviously the virality of it on TikTok like blew it up.
Mhm. Yeah,
Stick Season went absolutely crazy on TikTok.
yeah.
That helps. Um and I don't know, I think like I genuinely think his songwriting is just very, very good. It gets hated on, I think, because like the production, the chords, the melody, like they're not overly complicated by any stretch of the imagination, but folk music really never has been, I don't feel
Mhm.
like. So
Yeah.
that's like a weird critique of folk music in my eyes. It's always been about the storytelling, and I feel like his throughout that entire album is stuff that people related to. And if you grew
Mhm.
up, you didn't even have to grow up in small town New England to understand those stories. Like I grew up
Yeah.
in small town Pennsylvania, like I mean, and there was a lot of stories there that hit home for me. It didn't. Literally, you could grow up in small town Arizona, and
Mhm.
you would understand a lot of this stuff. So I think that helped. And it's not like he had been touring for a long, long time before this blew up. Like he had, how many EPs, albums out before that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
this idea of gatekeeping artists for me is like very weird. I don't know why we're trying to do this.
Mhm.
Um, if you like an artist enough, you should like care to see them be successful. I get
Yeah.
the ticket prices like suck. I get that.
Mhm. Mhm.
But the idea of gatekeeping people is a weird thing to me,
Yeah.
as someone
Yeah.
who doesn't do that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the funny part about it to me, um, and I think like this kind of goes into like maybe some of this gatekeeping is I feel like people think like, oh, if my favorite artist goes viral, then they're gonna start selling out to maintain that virality. Like they're gonna keep trying to make more mainstream stuff. But I think what's funny to me is that like Noah Khan is like sounded more like Ed Sheeran in the pop space in his earlier stuff than
mhm.
Stick Season. Stick Season is like very like folk, like grassroots folk. Like
Yeah.
it's not like, whereas like some of his other projects, there's like some full on like this could be an Ed Sheeran song
Right.
on those projects. So it's so funny to me that people are like, oh, like no console mainstream now, and like, oh, I can't stand it. And it's like, this isn't mainstream music. Like it
Uh,
hit the mainstream, but it's not mainstream music. Like
yeah.
his lyricism is not mainstream.
Mm.
It's extremely deep, extremely niche. Um, some of his lines that he has are like just so raw, like thinking like I still hate my parents for what their parents did to them, like a lot, like just so
Yeah.
raw, and so like that hits you. You're like, yeah, like talking about generational pain, like that's a real thing. A lot of
We all
people
go through
experience
it,
that.
right?
So it's like it is this beautiful, to me it's a beautiful bridge of bringing that indie, that folk, that really beautiful storytelling and lyricism, and putting it onto the mainstream so that things just aren't so surface level.
Yeah.
And you know, that's a pretty amazing thing. And it, to me, some of his success paved the way, I think, for some other pop artists that didn't, like, that are kind of in that space as well. Like Gracie, you think of Gracie Abrams,
Hmm.
like her lyrics are really deep and raw, and like now this whole pop wave that we're experiencing is like very like not, it's not as superficial as it
Right.
used to be a few years ago. And
Yeah.
like some of that I think is attributed to Noah Kahan and Stick Season.
Yeah, and for those people who are like, "Oh, like he's too mainstream," like if you think to the songs you hear by him on the radio, it's only like two songs. You hear "Stick Season" and you probably hear like the "Dial Drunk" with Post Malone on the
Yeah.
radio.
Yeah.
You don't hear anything else, and that's probably for a certain reason. Like,
Mhm.
um, those are obviously like the two most commercially available songs for radio,
Mhm.
but like the other ones, yeah, like you said, like there's so many deep lyrics that just hit in spaces that a normal like pop mainstream artist isn't going to hit in my eyes,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
just, my indie leaning self.
Mhm.
But yeah, he's 100% paved the way for people like Gracie Abrams, even like artists like I think to like Alex Warren a little bit. Like, I don't, like, would
Mhm.
he be have that same success without Noah Khan? I don't know. I mean, those are like the funny games you could play, I guess, in terms of like
Yeah.
artist success. But
Yeah. Yeah.
um, yeah, I think yeah, if you like, even if you don't want to listen to Stick Season because it's too mainstream, you can go back and find 10, 20 other songs of his that will
Mhm.
cut just as hard.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, phenomenal album, and you know, deserving of kind of the recognition it got. And yeah, he's just like a super nice guy. At least seems like it. I've never met him, but like
yeah,
seems like just a super genuine nice guy. Um, so it's really cool to kind of see people like that get some success and get some recognition. And
yeah,
you know, it's like that TikTok trend, like we made the right person famous, like, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
100%. Yeah, like if you're not super into like his other stuff, like if you want a funny time, you could just go through and read his tweets. Some of the
Yeah,
funniest things ever.
yeah,
Like he's
yeah.
just literally just a person like us, like
Mhm.
tweeting
Absolutely.
about goofy
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Well, he lives here in Nashville, and people see him all the time, just out and about. It's kind of funny, and cool to think that you could see Noah Khan. I'm sure now he has to be a little more discreet. Like
Right.
we saw him at, we went to a Predators NHL game, and he was there. And apparently, we saw afterward, like the jumbotron caught him, but afterward we saw that he like had to actually wear like a disguise,
Right. Oh
like to
yeah.
get in, and
Oh,
so
I'm
just so
sure.
crazy because he wasn't in a box, like he wasn't up in one of the boxes like most of the celebrities are. Like he was just sitting in the crowd in
Yeah.
the audience, like just so funny.
Mm,
But yeah, just and he loves that. Like he loves wearing disguises and being like goofy like that, which is so funny.
yeah.
Yeah, he's quite the character, but pretty cool. Um, so let's move on then to your we're gonna do now your artist Mount Rushmore. Who are like four artists that you're like, these are the
So
be all end all?
I've thought about this for a while, and because of how much of a prisoner of the moment I feel like, I'm gonna do an artist Mount Rushmore of this like past year for myself.
Okay.
Because going back is very, very hard for
Mm,
me.
mhm,
So for in the past like year, we'll do Joe,
mhm,
who I'm just like I went back through after I listened through Crux. I went back through again and listened to his other two albums, and I'm just like, this dude's been putting out like really interesting music for a long time, and kind of got
mhm.
hid behind the whole Stranger Things
Yeah,
persona.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, just really good. Again, kind of like indie dad rock vibes. Um, I would do the second one. I would do Khruangbin. I've been just really into Khruangbin this year.
Mhm,
Very, if you're not familiar, like instrumental. I don't know. It's just like really good background music, really good music to kind of vibe to. Uh, an artist who I've been into really early on, an artist called Hazlitt, who
yeah,
puts out uh, cinematic folk, is what we'll call it. It's very,
mm,
and again, like another artist who, for me, Jesus, his lyrics kind of hit a spot for me that uh, hurt a lot, but we
mhm,
we figure it out. And then
yeah,
an artist who is getting her flowers, and again, who I've been on for a while, and I think you've talked about recently, Olivia Dean,
mm,
who
yeah,
just getting the flowers she finally deserves, and I've
yeah,
I've been
yeah,
on for a minute, so I'm really happy to uh, see her getting that success. So that would be the four
mhm,
for this year for me. Again, ask me next year, it probably changes, but it's
yeah,
the life I
absolutely.
live.
Yeah, yeah, I love the Hazlitt shout out. I'm a huge Hazlitt fan. We're actually gonna see him, I can't remember when, sometime September or October when he comes through Nashville. Excited about that, but yeah, also he has his album is yeah, I think he's got an album coming out in
In
September, right?
September, yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
So yeah, really cool. I really enjoy like I love that space of folk that he's kind of in. It's like kind of like the Bon Iver, like Justin Vernon inspired, like
yeah,
falsetto
yep.
stuff. Really, like you said, cinematic, really like ambient stuff.
Right.
Another person that's in that space is Novo Amor, which
Yep.
I really enjoy his stuff as well. But yeah, Hazlitt is great. Is really cool, and
Yeah,
I'm
and
sure
I've
everybody knows him from Blame the Moon, but he's got way more than
so
that.
much more than that. Yeah, and I've had
Yeah,
if you're interested in that, I've done a podcast with him. Um
nice. That's
we
amazing.
talk half regularly. I've seen him a couple of times this year. Just
That's
yeah,
really
really,
cool.
really good in person.
Yeah,
Really good human. Like he's been on the
yeah,
grind for a while too.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and starting to get I don't know, we'll see how this, like, next album, pushes him, but, like, I feel like he's well, especially with Blame the Moon, like, he kind of, like, got some pretty good recognition
Yeah,
through that and some exposure there. Um Yeah, I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit, here, because I am very curious, and maybe you've already mentioned one of them in Linkin Park, but I would be really curious. What are some artists that have, like, influenced you earlier on? Like, if you were to look back on some of your whether
my
it's middle school, high school, college.
yeah,
Yeah.
my early days of finding my own music. Right, so my parents listened to a lot of country. Like it was like
Mm,
forced on me when I was a kid. '90s country music. When I found my own ear, so to speak, it's like I like how to phrase it.
mhm,
It was the Beatles. It was I went through a huge Linkin Park phase, obviously,
mhm,
like crazy Linkin Park phase. It was like
mhm, mhm.
super fan. I went through like I look back at my life and I've gone through like eras of genres. So I was into Rise
Sure.
Against for a period of time,
Okay.
like
Yeah,
early
yeah.
Rise Against, like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
really punk stuff.
Yep.
Um, I went through a little bit of Circa Survive, like in
Circa Survive,
college. Yeah,
yes,
like
yeah,
Blue
I
Sky
love that.
Noise is like an album for me that I really, really enjoy.
Yeah,
Um,
I love that.
Oasis for
Mhm.
sure, and obviously, they got their whole reunion tour that's
Yep,
going crazy.
yep,
Super bummed that I missed out on that one, but
yeah,
watching the videos is fun enough for me.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and then I went through like a hip hop phase. Like I had Cuddy and Mac Miller and
mm,
artists like that. Even goodness, like I remember like growing up with my best friend when I'd be at his house, they had MTV Jams on in the background. It was like
Yes.
like Boys in the Hood and
Mm,
stuff like that, just always on.
yeah.
So my music influences and inspirations have like full circled. Like we've gone everywhere and anywhere. I listened to a little bit of uh Shadows Fall in high school, like
Mm,
really like weird different stuff than what I'm doing now. But
mm.
yeah, it's kind of gone full circle, and now we're in our nice little relaxed era. We're in our
Nice.
feelings kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah,
Um
yeah,
which feels is where I probably end up sitting for a long time. But
yeah, yeah.
yeah, those are probably like the 4 or 5 artists growing up that I really was into.
Mhm.
Um, outside of the country space that I kind of grew up in.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. No, that's amazing. Well, I've been really enjoying this conversation. We've been going for almost an hour, so we'll probably wrap up here. But I super appreciate you coming on
Yeah, man.
and just talking about indie stuff, talking about all kinds of great things, putting us on to new artists. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate you taking your time
Yeah, I
to
appreciate you
do
having
that.
me for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And anybody listening, I'm sure you already follow him because you've got just a huge following. But yeah, especially check out your interview page. What's that series called? What do you call
The
that
the
series?
series is called Fuego Science Music Club. I just
Yeah.
didn't know what else to name it, frankly,
Hey,
but
I
that's
love
where
it.
we
No, that's
landed.
great. Yeah, Fuego Stein's Music Club. Super interesting. You'll find all kinds of great indie artists that you can just kind of get a glimpse into, their songwriting, what they're doing, whatever it might be. It's a lot of fun. I've seen several of those and they're super interesting. But yeah, everything else, Fuego Stein, TikTok, Instagram.
Fuego
So
Sign everywhere. I got the market
yeah,
cornered.
you've got the market cornered, and that's amazing. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate it, and yeah, we'll hopefully have you on again sometime soon.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, guests out there, tune in next time for another episode and another guest. We'll see you later.